I've been really struggling with like performing under like pressure of like people watching. And so again, we're going to be looking at replays that I have today of me just recording all my games. And so it's a consistent, just straight up recording. I just can't take doing stuff in front of a crowd anymore. I don't know why. I don't know what like clicked. Maybe it was like a bunch of people coming in my stream and just hating me like last August. But like I've been streaming a lot less, and I want to apologize that I've been streaming a lot less. And I want to say like this is really hard for me to do. Be in front of like a stream of like a bunch of people and doing things in front of an audience. And I really don't feel like I get enough out of it anymore to make that like stress level to where like my heart beats really fast and I'm like really exhausted for the rest of the day. I've been really struggling with anxiety lately. So we're recording, like I know people want to see me do it live. I can't do that anymore. I really just can't play games with like a tournament setting where if you lose one game, you basically just lose the whole dang thing. I can't live up to that pressure anymore. I can't do tournament games in front of an audience that reacts like while I'm doing it anymore. It's different if I'm at a tournament because my opponent can't see what I'm doing, and knowing that my opponent can't see what I'm doing allows me to play with a lot more confidence, like you're gonna see in these games. Versus like if I was streaming, even if I had a delay, I might be wondering if my opponent was in the chat and listening to my thought process while I'm talking about like my team preview or something. Also, having to play while talking is a lot harder than just having to play while not talking. I'm able to take notes better. I'm able just to be a better player overall, which you'll see in today's games. Why do you play ranked anymore? Didn't say I don't play ranked. I don't play tournaments. I've been playing ranked all month. I have an account in the top 50. I have an account in like the top 500. So I have like 2 accounts at like the very top of the ladder. I just don't want to play tournament games. Like, don't say I don't play ranked anymore, but like I definitely do. I play ranked all the time. Casting of your own recordings is better for educational purposes anyways, which is why you got my Prime. So I appreciate it, yo. You can use that Prime anywhere else. So, you know, I feel like this also does let people get a better insight as to what I'm thinking about while I'm doing it. What do you think you feel in an offline setting? What do you mean? Offline's completely different because I can read the room, I can read the body language, I can be more confident in my plays in an offline setting. It's still not something that I really like to do anymore because like I really don't feel like, as someone who's won a lot of tournaments and as someone who's gone to events, placed well, placed in the money, gotten the CP, had the accolades, went undefeated at events, the award you get for being first place and the amount of sacrifice you have to get there, the amount of, you know, winnings that you get when you get there, and just everything about it. If you once, this is talking for me personally, I just don't derive the value from that anymore. The amount of sacrifice for that reward is just not enough, in my opinion. I like playing games with real people because you meet real people, you make real connections, you make real friends. You can talk to that person. If you lost, you can ask them like, well, is there anything I could have done differently? Or what did you think of my team? Or, you know, I really like your team and stuff like that. You know, you can make real connections, real friendships. And it's better than just playing a game online and getting a ranking. And there's like another thing. Like when you lose a game in these sort of tournaments, like if you're taking a look at the person who's in first place right now at the end of day 1, they're 15-0, right? They're 15-0 and they had the good luck to fight people with like high points, right? If you lose more than 2 games in this tournament, you can't get first. And if you were to lose like a game early on in a regional, like if you were to lose like round 1 or round 2 in a regional, you will not make top cut because when you get like 6-2 or 7-2 in a top cut, you will not be in a spot that like the other 6-2s will have a higher ranking than you. If they lose, if they're like a 6-2, they went 6-0 and then lost the last 2. So like it's so much pressure. It's so much pressure. And as like a person who is in like the public eye, being someone that's like watched, like when people see that I'm in an event, they go to the standings of the event and look for me. And that's so stressful. You know, yeah, you bubble out. So I just want to say, I apologize for not showing you guys live games, but like I literally, it takes me, I'm sitting here shaking, like sweating, playing the games, even just recording them. So hopefully you guys still like them. We are still undefeated, right? There's a lot more to lose when you're like up on the higher part of the hill is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, let's get into the games. So let's get into the games right here. So you guys can see we're 1575. We've only played 5, right? We've only played 5, but we're going to play some more games today. And hopefully it's going to be a good time. And again, this is just a straight recording. Like I just recorded my games, no clipping, no editing. You guys will see how many games I've played at the start of every round. And yeah, let's go into it. So we're gonna start my day 2 right now. Checking the status of the competition. See, I've played 5 games. We're record 5-0, undefeated, right? Undefeated. It really shows that the work that I've put in for this tournament has been paying off. But with every single win, you know, you get even more stressed out. And I want to say something. Like I said, we're currently 5-0, right? We're currently 5-0. And I want to say, like, 5-0 is enough to get you into Top Cut if you're playing a Premier Challenge, which is usually a best-of-1 event. So this would get me undefeated into Top Cut. Now, if you're playing in a Premier Challenge, that's about 5 rounds. If you're playing in a mid-season, that's about 6 rounds. If you're playing in a small regional, that's 7 rounds. If you're playing in a decently sized regional, that's 8 rounds. If you're playing in a large regional, that's 9 to 10 rounds. So when I say when you're testing for tournaments, you should be trying to play about 10 games, and you should try to get like an 80 to 90% win rate when you're perfecting your tournament team. So currently, we're on a good track for having that 100% win rate, 5-0. We're on a great track to still top cut what would be like a big regional or like a national tournament, which is like a 9 or 10 round tournament. So you can see the games today, we're actually going to really struggle with multiple Pokemon that have great matchups versus Zekrom. Now, this first game, they only have 1 restricted, but you can see they have a ton of stuff that just pressures Zek. Weavile pressures Zek. Weavile pressures Bronzong. Regice really pressures Zek, because, like, what the hell do I do to a Regice? And I also have to respect the ability, like, if I Trick Room them, that Octillery could come out and just destroy me with, like, Sniper Water Spouts. Definitely have to respect that. So we're going to go into this team preview. And I just want to say, just because your opponents don't have like a super standard team, even though there's only 1 restricted there, you definitely do have to respect multiple Pokemon that aren't restricted, things like Regice and Weavile, dealing good damage against Zekrom. I will say in the second game, we're going to fight a similar thing. Just a bunch of Pokemon that you normally would not have to, calc for and deal with, having super effective, good matchups against Zekrom. And so these games are actually still going to be really, really threatening. Yo, we got Babero subscribing for almost a year. Holy moly, we do be taking those. Best tips to understand the meta of a format. Just play a lot of games. You got to play about 20 games a day for about 2 weeks. And regionals are best of 3, but Premier Challenges and mid-seasons are sometimes best of 1. So we see Weavile and Regice. Look at that. Double lead, turn 1. This person knows they hate Zekrom. They're going to do everything in their power to beat Zekrom. Also, like, Cali Ice doesn't do shit to these guys, and it definitely doesn't do anything to a Weavile, so it's going to be really, really hard. I like how you always bring the same 4. Same thing happened with my team, and somehow it just works. Yeah, this team's made to flowchart. Like, you always realistically lead a mixture of Comfey Zekrom or Bronzong Zekrom, and then from there, you just analyze the situation. It's made to go with this safely and just deal with the matchups. Good luck for these games. Yo, thank you. It's kind of cool that there's best of 1. Still didn't know that. Best of 1 tournaments are a lot of fun. I'm someone who was raised in the best of 1 environment. I like myself some best of 1. So I'm thinking about, what do I do this turn? I'm actually going to go for the policy proc on the Zekrom because I really did think that I really expected my opponent to go fake out into my Comfey, because the Weavile fake out actually does outspeed our Draining Kiss. It's a much higher base speed fake out. And I decided to just go for the big damage on the Regice. I thought about going for a Wormwind to make the Weavile weaker. I actually don't remember if I do that or not. But yeah, I really expected like fake out and some sort of setup move or something, maybe even a max move from the Regice. I really thought they were going to try and get my Comfey off the board. So it looks kind of weird policy procking with my Comfey in front of 2 Mons who also have super effective moves against Zekrom. But I'm thinking about it like this. Regice isn't going to be that strong. And I want to always just have options to like dictate play myself in case they don't do that. Like, what if they just double into the Zek? I also don't want to set Trick Room versus Regice. So this is still really hard. Yeah, this is a recording. We already played it. So Triple Axle. And one thing we see about Triple Axle, obviously it gets stronger, but it can miss. So you're going to see that they actually miss right here. And the fact that they miss kind of tells me that they're not like a wide lens. They're probably something like a, and they also don't have like, never melt ice damage. So you can kind of see that they probably are just sashed, right? So they don't have the lens. They don't have like another damage multiplier. There's no life orb. So it's good for us that they miss. They can show us that. And then go for the big ice beam. So that's a lot of damage, right? Turn 1, that's a lot of damage. But we really, really weaken the Regice, so we do be taking these. I stepped away. Were the same 4 mons from yesterday brought to the game? Yep, the same 4. Same 4. Bronzong's great for these. So we just go for a max guard. We're going to go for the TR. We're going to go for the TR. We're going to let them do whatever they want. And then we can safely set TR, and then we can floral healing our Zekrom to Vegas so we don't die to the Regice next turn. We really wanted to chip that Regice to make sure that it wasn't maxing and just dealing a ton of damage to us. So it took one of our max turns. It's actually going to take all 3 of our max turns just to not lose this game. But I still want to say, this is a really good thing to play. It's a really safe way to do it. And that's one of the cool things about this team. Even in matchups where they pin my restricted super hard with 2 super effective mons that also do have speed control in both Trick Room and out of Trick Room, we're still in a spot where we're not losing the game for it. So you're going to see how we play this here. I think we go for the Whirlwind on the Regice to make it sure the Triple Axle won't KO us. So we soak that Ice Beam. It's a ton of damage. And it is a thick Comfey, that's right. Did I go Calm or Sassy? I went Sassy on Bronzong. So we go for the Whirlwind, make the Weavile just a little bit weaker, so we'd be able to live the Triple Axle. Yeah, I am technically still, like, live. I played these, like, an hour ago, guys. And Triple Axle does miss on the Comfey. It also would not have KO'd the Comfey. Just throwing that out there because of the Intimidate from the Whirlwind. Use your Comfey policy proc recycle Appleton. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And so we see a Maractus here. Maractus was something I wasn't expecting here, but I'm happy to see the Maractus and not the Lunala this early. So we do be taking Maractus. And again, I don't get to choose who I play in these tournaments. Like, I don't get to choose. I can just make my rank higher and hope that it matches me with higher level opponents. But if my opponent wants to send out Maractus, that's fine. We want to get the Weavile off the board this turn. I'm still respecting Sash Weavile. So, yeah, in this situation, I don't care about your Maractus. You know, I may face Maractus, the Eridar Lord of the Burning Legion, but, I don't have to respect it very much. Like, Maractus is cool. It gets Storm Drain, it gets Chlorophyll, a bunch of cool options, but, we're just gonna go after this Weavile here. Do this just to break Sash, because I'm all but confirmed this thing is Sashed. Get a lot of health back in the process. Draining Kiss is so good. And just go for a Rising Voltage. And, I really like what my opponent was gonna do this turn, by the way. I really like what they were gonna do. They really thought that they were going to underspeed my Zek with that Maractus. They went for an after you into the Weavile, which, like, it's cool. Full speed Maractus still actually outspeeds Zekrom, so that's really, really cool for us that worked. The Lunala comes in here. This is obviously their big last mon. They have not maxed it. Remember, them not maxing is a little bit dicey. I think we just go for the Floral Healing because we can kind of just soak the damage. We have some big boosts here. And we just go for Rising Voltage into the Lunala. Like, might as well just go for the 2-shot on the Lunala and set up for a situation where we hope that they max, and then we can just bring in Calyrex and clean up with Glacial Lance. So, you know, big stuff right here. Big healing. Rising Voltage, terrain boosted. Look at this big damage. Absolutely massive damage right there. And we see a Petal Dance. That's hilarious, right? Not too often you're going to see Petal Dance. And we do be taking those. That's completely fine. Moongeist Beam also not going to be really enough to take us out. Would you rather have to hug Pharaoh or Maractus if they were real? Well, probably Maractus because it doesn't even have, like, Iron Barbs. So probably Maractus. But we do be taking these. We just go for a second Trick Room because we can. And we can just hit the Lunala. And I was thinking about this, right? This is a situation, right? Where if I get my Trick Room up, I win with Calyrex, right? And if I don't get the Trick Room up, and you hit my Comfey, expecting me to go, like, protect Trick Room or something like that, I will just kill your Lunala. So I actually think this is a win-win. So if you take up my Zekrom, I get a Trick Room up. If you take up my Comfey, I clear your Lunala. So it's a win-win in this situation for me. And, yeah, it looks like their Lunala is actually Trick Rooming this turn. That's the only situation. They're trying to Trick Room my Trick Room and finish off my Zekrom with a Petal Dance, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's an okay play from how behind they are. And the Petal Dance doesn't even break Comfey because we're so busted. We are literally so busted. So it was a win-win for us in that situation. And we do be taking those. I love Comfey. Surely my favorite support mon. Love to run it with Zek or Lapras. Those are great mons. Those are great. So we can just go for a Floral Healing. And we can just win the game with the biggest Draco Meteor. And you know what we can do? We can improve our record to an absolutely amazing 6-0. Big 6-0. Right there. So we don't... Yeah, no Dynamax? Hey, you know what? That's fine with me. I really don't care if you're not going to Dynamax me. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. You take out the Comfey, you can see it doesn't realistically matter. Like I said, like, we're still going to be fine. Big Draco. We do be taking these. Big Draco. We don't even get to see their health bar, Lamau. But they do be going down. We do be going down. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. And first game's in the bag. So first game, not bad. We do be taking those again. I don't get to pick who I play against, but I do get to not lose to Regice Weavile. Holy moly, they had every potential to win that game, and we're like, nope, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. We do be taking those, undefeated. Do you do any of these live, or it's all replays today? We're only doing replays today. I talked about it. We're not going to show any live games because I don't like playing games live in front of like a live studio audience. I don't like playing tournament games live in front of people. And we see the second game. Again, I don't get to choose who I play against, guys. You gotta remember, like, I do not get to choose who I play against at all. I just play who the game tells me to play, right? But I think this is the last game of the day that not the last game that I'm playing, but the last game that I'm playing against, like, a not restricted team. But you can see, like, the last game we fought against Regice Weavile, double Icemon, Super Effective, and Zekrom. This game, they have, like, Extra Drill Hippo. Like, what the hell do I do against Extra Drill Hippo? I also don't really want to Trick Room because you have, like, Azumarill Snorlax. It's, like, super, super hard. But, again, this is still a hard matchup. Like, an Extra has, like, a 140 base attack stat. Or 145 or some ridiculously high number. If they max the Extra Drill, that's still, like, Zekrom still doesn't want to deal with that, you know? So we're just gonna do our very best here. I think actually in this game, I don't remember if I go Comfy or if I actually bust out the boy Bronzong. I think I bust out the Bronzong in this one. Foil healed my Giratina like 6 times one game against Mewtwo. Oof. We take those. We take those. I did ranked live while waiting for Arceus to drop on launch, and it was more stressful than I expected. Yeah, ranked is not a problem. I don't like doing tournaments live because basically one tournament loss means you can't win. That's a lot of stress. That's a lot of stress. So yeah, we're actually gonna mix it up and go Bronzong. Do people just not know they can bring restricted? Some people are just use like teams that they have, you know? I don't know though. I have no idea. Some people think that makes them stronger to not use restricted, so I wouldn't necessarily say that's the case. Do you have other ideas for the vehicle slots? Yeah, tomorrow's Patreon post actually talks about the other Pokemon that would go into those slots. I tested like Perish Trap. I tested a couple other cool Maxmon options, and I realistically just found that like the Torkoal Venusaur pulled enough direction away from them respecting the Zekrom. I want to talk about this. The reason why we have the Venusaur there is because Venusaur is a very good mon that a lot of people have good matchups against. Like a lot of people are running Safety Goggles and Incineroar just to beat Venusaur. So anytime you see the Venusaur, they're like, I'm leading Safety Goggles and Incineroar. I can fake out you to stop you from Sleep Powdering, and I can just one-shot you with the Flare Blitz if you decide to lead Sun. It's a win-win. And I want them to lead Incineroars because I want to be able to one-shot the Incineroar before I set Trick Room. So if I ever see Incineroars in the team preview, I'll lead Comfey Zek, Policy Proc, KO the Incin. Incin's no longer on the board, it can't Parting Shot or Snarl me. Next turn, I just go Max Guard Trick Room, and then I win the game. So it's a flow chart. It's like a series of set things that I've practiced over and over and over again. I've reset the situations over and over and over again. The fact that we have Venusaur tunnels our opponent into respecting it, and then we just win the game, right? So it's really, really good for having them in the team preview because it makes our opponent lead with the Pokemon we want them to lead with. So let's go. Venusaur Torkoal is always just chilling in the back every game. It's pretty funny. Yep. Yeah, I don't even bring him. But we do see the Hippo Extra Drill. Like, what am I supposed to do against this? This is a hard lead to deal with. Now, if I were the opponent in this situation, I'd be going for, like, big damage versus Zek, checking for Levitate, and I would also be using Yawn. I think Yawn is so good here because I can't set my electric terrain. So I have to do everything in my power to not get Yawned on this Zekrom. Because if I get Yawned, I will lose the game, right? So that's also why the Venusaur and Torkoal are first in the team preview. That's right. Condition them in team preview. So at this point, look at it. Look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to respect the Extra Drill, but I'm also going to scout for Yawn. Like, I'm really thinking about what I need to do here. I'm scouting for Yawn by going Protect here. I would love it if they actually maxed and wasted the max. Does that mean they couldn't max the Azumarill? Azumarill is the bigger problem here. So we're just going to Protect and scout for Yawn. I want free Trick Room. So we see EQ. I'm not afraid to see EQ. I also think EQ is good here, even if you have high horsepower Extra Drill, because you don't care if you're EQing a Hippo, but you do want to outplay Ally Switch. So this is actually the good play. Remember, this guy actually has good points. I think he's like 1540 or something, which, again, this is still like the 6th game into the tournament. So it's not bad points. And we get our Trick Room up here. You may be thinking, why are you Trick Rooming? Like, his team had like all those slow-ass Mons. But we wanted to underspeed the Extra Drill. We definitely need to respect Extra Drill in this situation. And remember, we can't set Max Lightning until there's a Pokemon we can hit with an electric attack on the board. So in this time, because we did see the Yawn, I think we did see the Yawn, right? Let's go back. We saw Yawn, right? right here. So we saw the Yon. We blocked it. So we scouted Yon. Even against people that don't have all the restricted, you still need to play the game correctly. We scout for a Yon. We get the Trick Room up. Now, they can still go for the Yon in that slot. So I think this turn I do Ally Switch and Max Quake the Excadrill, which I don't think is a terrible play because we just don't want to go to sleep. We don't want to. I do think I Ally Switch and let the Bronzong take the Yon potentially. And we just Max Quake the Excadrill. And if they're Sash Excadrill, they're still going to live. But, like, then we can just kill that with, like, a Bulldoze or, like, a Body Press from Bronzong next turn. So it's a really cool way to play it. Like, I've theory crafted so many different things. We're going to see them switch out Excadrill, which is so crazy. In for the Azumarill, I'm like, yes, I can hit this thing before it can max. And I'm thinking, what are some common Azumarill spreads in VGC? Probably something like Assault Vest is really common. Citrus with, like, Citrus isn't as common in VGC. It's more common in like BDSP or like singles, so you can go Citrus Belly Drum, but it's more common to be vested, like bulky Azumarill. And basically, even though we don't have our policy proc, if this does over half, it's obviously not vested, but if it does like 20 to 30%, that means it's probably vested. So we're ally switching just to avoid Yon. Like straight up, let me avoid that Yon. And we see the Stealth Rock. Holy crap. I have a Sashmon and a Calyrex in the back. So this guy obviously is playing with like a singles team, which is completely fine. There's nothing wrong. Like obviously it's working for them. But they didn't even go for the Yon. And you can see we did about that 22 to 25%, which means they're probably vested, which means I'm really happy that I hit that damage on them in the first place. So we need to get this Azumarill off the board. And also, if they max it, we actually won't K them with the Max Lightning, and they should also be able to confirm that we're special as well. So what we need to do here is think about switching out our Bronzong, because Bronzong just ain't cutting it here. We don't need to go for Bulldozes. We need to go for the Max Lightning. We need them to policy proc us, and then we really need to hope that they're not switching an Excadrill and just yawning our Zekrom, because that could be a slow loss for us. So we're switching out Bronzong. I think we switch in Cali, and the reason we switch in Cali instead of Comfey is because we want to be able to be a bully versus that Hippo while we can. And if they did switch in the Excadrill or something weird, this would be able to kind of bully the Excadrill just in case we need to, right? We can high horsepower Excadrill in Trick Room. That's still pretty nice. So they are maxing the Azumarill, and I think we're okay versus Azumarill. If you're not going to get the Belladrum off, I don't have to respect you as much. And all I got to do is not get yawned. I gotta maintain my electric terrain. So we do be taking these. One little note about this is Yawn works when there is you can actually Yawn something during a misty terrain. They will not get put to sleep if they're grounded. Obviously, they Yawn into a Bronzong slot, and they're still going for the big, Starfall. So Bronzong still would have been asleep there next turn if I would have left it in. But it doesn't block the getting drowsy. Misty does not block getting drowsy from Pokemon that are grounded. So there's just one thing to note. But it blocks the full sleep. So Calyrex. Also, I'm still Max Lightning. And they procced my policy. We do be taking those. You're going to see this is the first of many times. We're going to let our opponents proc our policies now that we're fighting better opponents. They can just proc our policy and we can win. So we do be taking these. Spellbay, how's it going? Azumarill down for the count. You still have an Excadrill. You still have a big Hippo. But now I got my boy Calyrex. And we're just ready to start popping off, right? We were ready to absolutely pop off. Zekrom's still pretty healthy. This is the last turn of Max coming up. If for some reason you got rid of my Calyrex, I could foil healing my Zekrom from here at about 80%, which is very nice. And we're just in a great spot here. I don't think there's anything that we're really afraid of in these situations. Too restricted, that's right. Would you say policy is a staple item pick? It depends on if your team's reliant on winning early, right? Policy is a bully item. You could be a big bully. With a weakness policy. But we just go for the big Max Quake in the Excadrill and just a Glacial Lance. Be able to break Excadrill Sash as well. If you protect, you still lose your Excadrill Sash to the Max Quake. So we're in a good spot. And they're just going to lose their Excadrill, which is great. We do be taking these. So big Lance, it's not going to do a ton to the Hippo, but it is going to do a lot to that Excadrill. Almost just one-shot it. That's ridiculous, right? And a Slack Off from Hippo, that's completely fine. I don't know if they know that they're not going to put my Cali to sleep, but shoot your shot, Chief. Slack Off shouldn't work. Slack Off should not work in the electric terrain. I'm not wrong. It shouldn't work. They should make that so it doesn't work. If Rest doesn't work, you shouldn't be able to use Slack Off either. Do you think Weakness Policy is a nice addition to the game, or is it too overpowered? I think Weakness Policy is cool. I think Dynamax is stupid, because I've top cut a few regionals before Dynamax existed with Weakness Policy teams, and I think it's a great item. It adds a lot of unique ways to play a lot of like Intimidate users and stuff. you don't need a self-policy proc. You can just kind of put policy on your Pokemon, kind of like we did in this game, let them proc it, and then one-shot something and have a mon that requires your opponent to respect it and then tunnel them into respecting it, which is a cool way to play the game. Do you max Dynamax level on all Pokemon? I do. Even my Bronzong has max Dynamax candy. We see the Whimsicott here. It's just better to go for the Hippowdon in this situation. I was thinking about going for like Rising Voltage, Glacial Lance, but I realized like the Whimsicott would just die to Sand, and like we don't need to respect Whimsicott at all because we have a Bronzong in the back. So we just double into the Hippowdon, and big Glacial Lance. We do be taking these. So Glacial Lance, look at this. Look at this big damage. The big boy, Calyrex Ice, restricted Pokemon, getting the big KO, and you know what? That's 7-0. Remember what I was talking about records? This would be enough to go the top cut a regional back when they were best of 1, right? So it's great. So we do be taking those. Undefeated still. Still undefeated, you know? And against matchups where they led 2 Pokemon that had super effective type advantages against our Zekrom. And we still won. We still stay in winning out here. When Dragonite got added to Sword Shield, I used Pixelate Sylva on Quick Attack to activate it. Yep, I've done that before. If the IVs of your restricteds are bad, do you just bottle cap them? I would just bottle cap them. Yeah, that's what bottle caps are for, in my opinion. So we broke into the 1600s. Still undefeated, 7-0. You can see, again, this is just a streamless run right here. And we're searching for another game. Currently sitting 5-1. Nice. So we got a JP player, 1577. And look at this. This is what I would say is our worst matchup. This is the worst matchup that we can have. Like Zacian. This team's made to beat like Kyogre teams. But Zacian Groudon with like Zard, Venu, and Sin Grim, that's hard. The double fairy makes it so I can't use Wyrmwinds safely because they can always switch in Zacian or Grim to waste my max turns, which means I can't realistically intimidate the Groudon. And there's no reason to just Wyrmwind a Groudon because you won't kill it when it's in its max mode. Even if you get the policy proc, you're not really going to KO it. So it's really, really hard to do this. And then the fact that like we have Venus or Torkoal, it does hopefully bait them into leading in Sin, but if they lead in Sin Groudon, things might get a little bit dicey, where if they max Quake us, they might proc our policy, but they'll give a +1 boost to their Incin, and then they won't die, and then the Incin's not dying, and we're wasting like 2 or 3 max turns just to deal with an Incin while we're eating max Quakes on our Pokemon every time. So this is a bad matchup. And I would say that like this is a matchup on paper that like I've practiced it. I have a lot of wins in the matchup, but we probably do lose this matchup, you know, I would say well over half the time. Like, it's just something that you can't really deal with. When you're going to a regional, you're kind of hoping to avoid this type of team. And let's just say thank you. Yo, we got K-Drod, or was that KD Rod, 711, dropping 5 gifted subs. Holy moly. Can we put some subs up for this? Put some subs up for this absolutely amazing gift of subs. Hope you're having a good time in the International Challenge. Hope you're having a good time overall. But yeah, very, very hard matchup. Zard's good. Setting the Gmax Dot's good. Going big Groudon's good. Going big Venusaur is even good here. You can even lead like Venusaur and Sin and just go like fake out Comfey Sleep Powder my Zek and I would just be sad. Yo, I'm doing absolutely flawless. We're still undefeated in the tournament. And I want to say thank you so much, numero uno sub gifter for the week. We do be taking these. I really appreciate that. 5 gifted subs. That's a lot of money. Yo, that's literally like buying a whole new like game or something for yourself. So I really do appreciate that. Which drawback mechanic between Mega Evo and Z moves do you like better? I don't like either of those. I think both of them are too overpowered, personally. But let's just get into this game. And I'm really thinking about this. Like, I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I've had a good run. You know, my win streak. It's going to come to the end, right? Currently 12-1, although half the games are against fake teams. I think even the fake teams, you still have to play correctly, though. You still have to play correctly, because, like, they could just max an extra. I fought, like, 5 extras already, you know? Like, it's ridiculous. My Lugia got Iron Balled from a Grim and got P-Blade killed. Oh no. Oh no, not the P-Blade into the Lugia. Never lucky. But yeah, it's hard. Yeah, even the fake teams were hard. Like, you know, our first 2 games today were against like Weavile, Regice, double Ice into Zek. And then like Hippo, Excadrill, double Ground into Zek. It's so hard, you know? How do you do tournament? This is just the tournament that's in the game. It's put on by the official Pokemon company. Real Rawrick, yo, I'm running Dialga Palkia here, sitting right outside 1600. Yo, happy to hear you're having a good time. Thank you for the 12-month subscribe. 12 months, a whole year. Welcome to the Butterfree Brigade. What's your Zekrom spread? We're a big, bulky boy. We're running special Zekrom today. And they're taking a long time. Now, I want to say this, right? How do you get to it? It's already started. You would have had to sign up a couple days ago. But it's already started. Everyone that enters gets a Shiny Galarian Articuno. I'm going to show you guys a couple ways that I can still play from behind and use the fact that this is a bad matchup to my advantage. So I can use this fact this is a bad matchup to my advantage depending on what they lead. I'm hoping to see the Insins. I'm hoping to still see the Grim. I'm hoping they save the Zacian until last, right? That's kind of what we're hoping for. The worst matchup here would probably actually be like Zacian and Groudon. You max the Groudon and you just pop me in the mouth. We know how many games we need to play to get the Articuno. You have to play 3 games to get the Articuno. So we see the Grim. We see Grim Groudon. Now I want to talk about this, right? Grim Groudon. Now, this is the benefit, this is the luxury of running Zekrom, is a lot of people are going to really expect you to be a physical attacker, right? So there's a couple things that can happen here. They can go Fake Out into Comfey. Grim does get Fake Out. It also gets Taunt. You can go both those options into my Comfey, and you can just nuke my Comfey turn 1. Fake Out into the Comfey, Max Quake from like a Life Orb Groudon will actually just KO the Comfey. I don't get Trick Room up, but I have the ability to go into Bronzong next turn. I can then just go Protect Zek. Bronzong will then just go for the safe Trick Room because Groudon won't really be able to KO it. Or I could even go for like an Ally Switch if I wanted to. But I'm still a Mon down in that situation. I also could just go like Trick Room with Comfey. Well, I guess I'm going to say thank you here. Thank you, Pseudo Marquee. Yo, Twitch Prime, 2 months. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 2 months sub. I really do appreciate the subs, guys. I really, really appreciate all the subs we're getting today. I want to show you guys, this is a good example of using the bad matchup to my advantage. What we're going to do in this situation is we're going to let the Grim do whatever it wants. It can set a screen. We're hoping that it sets a reflect. We are then going to let the Groudon policy proc our Zek. We're actually made to be a little bit slower than Groudon's on purpose. So the Groudon will then policy proc our Zek, and then we will one-shot the Grimmsnarl with a policy proc Max Lightning, which will also, setting Max Lightning is very good because it makes so Venusaur can't come out and use Sleep Powder, all while setting Trick Room. So we're getting a KO and policy procking and setting Trick Room on the same turn. Now, this takes a lot of testing to do, and I played, like I said, a couple hundred games with this team, testing against these sort of flowchart teams. I hit up other players to play against, and I would say, please play me with your Groudon teams. And I know for a fact that, like, a lot of people in the situation, judging by, you know, my notes, they usually pop the Reflect, and they usually go after the Zek. I don't care if you go P-Blades or Max Quake. It doesn't really matter. Best nature for it doesn't really matter. No, I'm kidding. Timid is usually what most people go. I like Modest. But yeah, we just max the Zek. And we just get the Grim off the board. We want to get the Grim off the board before it can set a light screen. And we also want to get the Grim off the board before we set Trick Room, so it can't just Spirit Break us next turn, right? We don't want any special attack shots on this Zekrom. It's very important. So they go for the Reflect because of course they do. Who wants that happening, right? And they go for the big P-Blades, and we do be taking these. Look at this. Comfey takes damage, Zekrom gets a policy proc, and we're perfectly within range to then just next turn go for a 4-0 healing. This is an absolutely amazing situation to be in, and we're getting the terrain, and we're KOing the Grim. What an amazing play against our worst matchup, against a good player who did everything right, and we still made the correct play, right? It's good. This is the value of, like, theory crafting your flowcharts to handle every single situation. The game just plays itself. Look how ahead we are. KO, speed control, terrain control, like everything is going our way right now. So it's a good spot to be in, I think. I think it's a pretty good spot to be in. It's not over yet, obviously. They still have great mons, but you can't get like a better first turn than that, I don't think. I really don't think you can. If you're while playing defensively, we literally got everything. The value of maxing because they won't find out you're special. Yeah, it's good. Now, he knows now, you know. Kind of wish there was a way to determine if a max move is special or physical. I agree. So in the situation, that's not the Zard, and this is a situation where I'm gonna go for the 4-0 healing, and I'm gonna just let them KO the Comfey. I actually think I'm in such a good spot here. I can just keep them honest. You're out of ground types. I can just go for big damage from the Zard. I don't need to go after your Groudon. I would hate to go after your Groudon and get the G-Max Fire set on me, lose my Comfey, and lose the game. Like, if you protected Groudon and just G-Max Flared, or G-Max Wildfired, I'd hate to have that. I do not mind throwing a Max attack into that Charizard, wasting one of my turns, because I feel like I'm ahead enough to win this game regardless. You also have to still hit your P-Blades. So, you're playing an uphill battle here, maxing your Zard, and trying to elongate the game a little bit. But yeah, they go for the correct play. And again, we're just in a good spot. If you actually KO my Comfey, I just get to bring out my Calyrex. Like, we do be taking these. You do have Reflect up, though, which is a little bit dangerous. Brave to Max Zard. I agree. Like, I think that Max and the Zard, it is what it is. You know, they're fishing for crits. They get the KO on the Comfey. Doesn't really matter. Zekrom's still really thick. And we don't have to go after that Groudon yet. We really don't have to go after it yet. You know, we have a Calyrex in the back. We're going to be in a good spot. So Calyrex comes out. This has all been flowcharted from the first turn of the game. Like, the fact they sent out the Zard other than the Groudon, sorry, than the Zacian, like, this lets this work, you know? Because they have to max something. That's the thing about Zacian teams. They can't max the Zacian. They don't want to max their Groudon right here. They don't want to max the Groudon and have it take, like, 80% and just die after, like, an Intimidate. So we're in a great spot here. Against our worst matchup, mind you. Our worst matchup on paper. Yeah, just keep them honest. What are you going to do? What you going to do? What are you going to do? You could switch in your Zacian. Don't know if that's the play. Your Groudon's not going to die to a Calyrex, but, like, yeah, we'll see. We will see what they decide to go with. But it's a cool play that we do here. Let's go plus bus. Whoop, whoop. That's right. What you have done if the lead was Groudon Venu? If the lead was Groudon Venu, I probably would have went Protect, Zek, Trick Room. That's probably what I would have done. And then next turn, I would have doubled into the Venusaur. So we take out the Zard. No double Protect. We will be taking those. So Zard's down. And we get a... What did we do with Cali? Did we protect Cali? I don't think we did. Yeah, they also get the double miss with the people. Yeah, I think we went for the people. I think we went for the Glacial Lance. I think you saw it already. You taught me everything I know. I try my best, yo. So there's the Zacian. I think there's like 1 to 2 turns left Trick Room. Because remember, we got a turn on our first Trick. We got a KO on our first Trick Room turn, which is really, really important. And you can see we do need to respect the Zacian. We do still need to respect the Groudon. We're out of max turns. And yeah, you see the Groudon took a big hit from the P-Blades. Or not P-Blades, the Glacial Lance. So in this situation... we can be, I still think we're absolutely fine just keeping them honest here. I think we're super fine just keeping honest. Like, you can go for your double protects. Like, as long as you don't hit, like, double protects, we win the game, basically. Because we just target the Zacian slot, get it off the board. So, like, you have your, you can do everything right and still lose. Which is what this guy did. He didn't do any misplays. And he had the advantage in the matchup, and we still won. They could have went for max ground for Spadef boost, but the thing is, like, why would you Spadef boost versus Zekrom? Like, why would you? And if you did, if you proc my policy, I'd still be able to do big damage. I think Aeroblast, Sacred Fire should get more PP. Nah, I think the fact that they're really good, you know, those are all Sacred Fire and Aeroblast are also more unique than like P-Blades and Origin Pulse because like those are just like they have lower accuracy and can miss, but like Aeroblast has a high crit and Sacred Fire just burns. Sacred Fire should only have 5. That's true. Sacred Fire should only have 5, but we take those. So let's update the win rate. 8-0. So remember, if this was a regional, we would have just went undefeated at like a best of 1 regional, which I've done before. We would have went undefeated right now. 8-0, undefeated, still doing it really, really good. Still undefeated. And that was like, again, I want you guys to understand that was our worst matchup, and we fought against a good lead with a good player playing the game correctly and still won. So like I don't even care how many people were like, that's you 8-0, but like some of the teams you fought didn't have restricted. It's like I played correctly against bad matchups even though they didn't have restricted, but also even against our worst matchup, we're still flowcharting ways to win the game. It's still bad. It's still terrible, you know, but we did win. We didn't give up, never surrender. We do be taking these. So we're going back into it. You can see it's just a streamless thing here. So 1654, 1617. What are we using for the IC? We're using Zekrom, 8-0, undefeated. Going to the next game. So many troll teams. I don't think they're troll teams. I just think people want the Articuno, you know? People just want Articuno. I thought about using a team that I just like had a bunch of stupid items, like the curry and the can of beans. One guy got a triple protect, holy moly. So against this team, again, look at it. I don't choose who I get to play, right? This guy has Hippo, which is hard to deal with. Another Excadrill, Like, Hippo Extra Drill is not a good time for Zekrom. You saw how hard it was to play around Yawn and eating, like, Max Quakes. And this one has, like, a Dragapult and a Darm. Like, I actually don't care that people say, like, this is not restricted. Like, bro, every single one of those Pokemon has a super effective move versus my Zekrom. And when we only have options to realistically use Zekrom, it gets a little bit dicey, you know? Like, every single one of those Pokemon. Now, I want to tell you, a good Pokemon player, what separates a good Pokemon player from a great Pokemon player, or I guess what separates a great Pokemon player from a good one, is understanding your matchups. So the fact that I've used Zekrom in a lot of different formats over the years, I actually know when I'm safe versus Mimikyu. I know when I'm safe versus Dragapult. I even know when I'm safe versus Pokemon that have similar attack stats to a Galarian Darmanitan. So a Galarian Darmanitan would come packed with like a Choice Band, which would relatively be the same attack power as like an Adamant Choice Banded Weavile. It depends on like Weavile using like a little bit more damage. So like a Weavile after Stealth Rock's damage on something would do roughly the same amount of power as like, you know, the Darmanitan would do against our Zekrom. So like I understand my calcs because I understand the base stats of all these Pokemon. Yeah, their team's great. And remember, this guy had good rating. I think he was like in the 15, he was in like the upper 1500s. So he's doing well with this team. This is a good looking team. And I don't like fighting teams that have like weird shit. Like if anything, everyone's like, oh my gosh, another not restricted team. It's like, bro, give me Zashi and Kyogre. I would send Zashi and Kyogre to the Shadow Realm. I'd much rather fight Zashi and Kyogre than like Polt, Excadrill, Mimikyu, Darmanitan. Because that's the shit that's scary to someone like me. Like, I make teams to not have to play this stuff. It's scary, man. It's good. And so, we're just going to do our best to play safely, weather the storm, analyze the situation, scout for items, and be in a good spot. Which Hisuian Pokemon do you think will be shining ranked? None. It depends on if we keep this format. I want to give a little disclaimer. Those Hisuian Pokemon, they're cool, but they're not restricted, right? So it's like, everyone's like, yeah, Hisuian Typhlosion, Hisuian Decidueye, Hisuian Ursaring. It's like, yeah, those aren't Zacian. So, like, I would never want a board that has one of those versus having a Zacian. And I'd never want one of those versus having, like, a Reshiram or, like, a Xerneas or, like, a Kyogre. They're not Kyogre. So, like, the only way those will ever see play is if we're not in a restricted format. Best EV spread for Modest Venusaur. It depends on what you want to do with it. There is no best EV spread for any Pokemon. So, let's go into this game. Every single team's EVs need to completely change to fit the situation which one uses Pokemon. Sweet Palkia, I will see. I haven't even seen that Enamorous thing. So anyways, we see Excadrill, Dragapult, right? So again, two Pokemon who have really good attack stats and can dumpster our Zekrom. Are we going to lose? We'll find out. So we just need to play this safe. As long as we're not throwing and trying to overextend ourselves versus these teams, we should be fine. We should be fine. So we're going to see Zekrom pop the Big Protect. And I actually wanted them to max because I wanted them to proc my policy for free. So everyone's like, they didn't even max. It's like, I actually think it's smart to not max here because not maxing lets you easier play around Ally Switch, which is a super common play when leading Comfey Zek. So the Dragon Arts would have still autoed gone into the Zek, and that would have been a really good play for them. But we do get our Trick Room up. Trick Room is now up. We're in a good spot here. And so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to try and be a bully. I'm thinking about it. I remember. I think I just protect Comfey and just leave it on the board to heal the Zek. Because we don't need a policy proc. And then if we leave the Comfey on the board right here, if it is Sash Excadrill, which it might be, we can just go for a Draining Kiss on it next turn if we need to. It's a really cool way to play it. And you could say, why don't you just go for the Draining Kiss this turn? Well, this leaves Comfey open to take damage from the Dragapult if it were to be able to deal damage somehow, and I need Comfey to then be able to priority hit the Excadrill. So I think just protecting Comfey, leaving on the board, and seeing if I need to use Foil Healing or seeing if I need to use Draining Kiss. Again, it's a safer play than overextending myself by just going for Draining Kiss and trying to steal a KO and using a full Trick Room turn to just gain advantage. Because I do feel if I can just maintain advantage, maintain Trick Room, I'm going to win. You have these guys, you have things like Galarian Darmanitan, and I should just be fine if I don't just completely throw and make my Mon super, like, obvious. And we also don't know where the Sash is. There'd be no reason to go into that Excadrill if the Sash was on the Dragapult, right? So we do see the Sash, which is great, and next turn, we can just go for the K on the Excadrill, and then the K on the Dragapult. So again, we took 2 turns of playing extremely safe. We wasted some max, and we're getting ourselves in a situation where we don't really want to lose. Like, thank you for the policy proc. I do appreciate it. So we would be taking... Yeah, flinch was scary last turn. Flinch would have been scary in the Comfey, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. We just would have had to max the Zekrom and probably hard switch in the Bronzong or something like that. So we're fine. And we're also Sash, so it wasn't like they were going to kill us. So yeah, we already set this up. We completely set this up even after the first turn. We knew what we were going to do exactly. Like, I've already flowcharted these sort of situations and, you know, realized, like, win conditions versus, like, Pokemon that are a little bit more unique. I will say that even when I was building this team, I did take a lot of the extras into account, which is another reason why we've been able to play so well against Excadrill. It's definitely a Pokemon I took into account when building this team because it is a problem. You want to look at like every single Pokemon. When you're building a team, you got to be strolling through the decks and saying, how does this deal with this? How does this deal with this? What about this speed tier? What about this defensive type combination? What about Assault Vest Excadrill, Sash Excadrill, Life Orb Excadrill, Air Balloon Excadrill? Like, there's so many different situations where you have to understand every potential opportunity your opponent could have so you can do your very best to beat it in the future. Like, against, if that was like an Air Balloon Excadrill, we would have had to like Draining Kiss double in on the first turn, which could have led to them going like turn 1 max guarding the Excadrill, double tapping me with the Dragapult, and then they could have also went into turn 2, ally switch Dragapult, Excadrill hits me again. They could have used the Air Balloon as a defensive advantage, and that's something that I've analyzed and thought about going into this tournament. So you got to always be thinking about what's the worst case scenario that could happen whenever you look at any Pokemon in the decks. My voice sounds robot-y. Does it? Does it sound robot-y? Hopefully it doesn't. I mean, I'm talking a lot. I'm talking really fast. Are we dropping frames? We have 0 dropped frames. I want to know if it's robot-y before anyone else. Not for me, okay. It might just be that person's connection then. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Like, you want to look at every single Pokemon, think of like every single item and like partner choice. When in reality, I thought about Dragapult, but like I thought about like ally switch next to Excadrill could be a problem. It's because I'm killing it. Sounds good to me. Someone says it's frozen. All right, well, hopefully it sounds fine. Hopefully it sounds fine. Let's just go into continuing this game. So they send out the Darmanitan and the Mimikyu. And so this is a weird situation to be in, right? I'm running out of Trick Room turns. I think I have 2 turns left. Darmanitan is more of a problem because it gets fire attacks as well. And Mimikyu's not as big of a problem. We do have Callie and Bronzong in the back. So you may be thinking, oh, just kill the Mimikyu and deal with the Darmanitan with the Bronzong, because I totally could. But I do think that like Calyrex can do a better job versus Mimikyu than you know, it can do against the Darmanitan in my opinion. But let's just go into it. So let's go. So we go for the 4-0 healing into the Zek this turn. We already talked about that. And we just go for a Worm Wind. This also, Worm Winding the Darmanitan makes so the Mimikyu's at a -1, so we can more accurately wall it out in the future. And it doesn't really matter who they max, because we're just getting a -1 on something. So let's go. Big Max Mimikyu. Remember, Zekrom's ability Terrible goes through the Mimikyu disguise. So we can hit this Mimikyu for basically true damage. It's really, really good. Yeah, it's a recording. I don't know if people know that. Yeah, I'm like, this, the gameplay is a recording. I can pause it and talk about it. So big 4-0 healing. This is one of the reasons why Zekrom Comfey is so good. Because you basically have to get the Comfey off the board. Like, you got to get it off the board. Otherwise, Zek's just going to live forever. So Wormwind's going to be able to take out that Darm. We already saw Sash. We don't have to respect it. This puts a -1 attack stat on the Mimikyu. And that's another reason. Zekrom's so good because it can use Wormwinds to lower attacks, make it bulkier on the defensive side, and can use Max Quakes to make us bulkier on the special defensive side. It's so bulky. Look at this. This is a -1 Mimikyu. Max Starfall doesn't do shit. And I think they're holding a Life Orb. I don't remember. We're going to see. Are you orbed, bro? Are you orbed, bro? So we just got to wait out their max turns, and we're going to be fine. Wait out their max turns. We still have 4 mons. And we played this one absolutely amazing. What we did, we could have been more aggressive. We could have got, you know, more KOs faster. We could have probably had the game over by now. But what we didn't do was overextend and get ourselves in situations where, you know, we'd open ourselves up to be getting crit. We had one turn where we could have got flinched. But we don't want to get crit. We don't want to get ally switched. We don't want to be protect baited. We just took the game at our own pace and created a situation where, like, bro, you can't break my boy. And that's great. Do Resh and Zek work together at all? They both have ground weakness, and they both don't set speed control in terms of, like, good enough speed control, right? They both get outsped, but, like, both of them, you can't just lead with both and be fine. I could actually have a board that's, like, Kali, Ice, Zekrom, and there are benefits and disadvantages to doing that. You know, like, you have to respect my ability to go Trick Room with the Calyrex. If I go Zek, Reshiram, the best I can do is an Airstream, which means if you go, like, Groudon whims, I just lose. Or if you just go like fast Groudon, I just lose. And I don't like that. Dialga, how's it going? Prior VGC had great battles last night in the tournament. Yo, we do be taking those. You can see we're going to be absolutely fine in this situation. We just go for a Protect Zek. And we're going to go for a Protect Zek. I think it's a really cool way to play here. And we're just going to go for a Raw Draining Kiss. If you hit the Comfey, that's fine. But there's no problem with hitting the Comfey. It opens up a spot for the Calyrex. And we do need to break the Disguise, not so Zekrom can hit, but so Calyrex can hit it next turn. And Mimikyu doesn't have any AoE attacks, like Precipice Blades or Water Spout, so we're fine. They even make the right plays, just goes to show. We're playing against someone that kind of knows what they're doing. They hit the Comfey, which is the right spot. They finally realized Comfey is the problem here. And, yeah, this is their last turn max. Zekrom can just go for Rising Voltage. Calyrex can just go for Glacial Lance. We don't do anything special, and we are going to improve our win rate to 9-0. Undefeated. Now, remember how I talked about. So, like, 5-0 is enough to top cut a Premier Challenge. 6-0 is enough to top cut an MSS. 8-0 is enough to top cut a Regional. 9-0 is enough to top cut, like, a National. Right? AoE stands for area of effect, so moves that hit multiple targets. And DOT stands for, like, moves that deal damage over time. DOT, damage over time. But that's what they stand for. So, yeah, you go for the Shadow Sneak. You don't even get it, because Zekrom's big busted. And then we just win. And then we just win. 9-0. 9-0. Feels great, man. Feels great. Feels great to not suck. It really does. It really does. Because I put in a lot of work in like theory crafting the flow charts for this team. And it's working. It's working. 9-0. So let's go into the next game. See if we can make it an even 10-0. And again, you can see it's just a seamless recording. Every once in a while, I back out and I just go check my rating to see where it is. I think I'm in like the 1600, 1630. Prime form before regionals. Yeah, I don't know if I'm even going to go. Like the regionals, like, there's no MSS or PC, which means we'll see. We'll see. Thing probably took more damage from Life Orb. Yeah, no, I agree. It probably did. So, PJ, 1620. So this is your game. Here you go. This is your game. You got the dual restricteds, got the Zacian Kyogre 1600, so we're finally fighting against a player that looks like they know what they're doing. They have a great team. I actually think the Duraludon's like really cool tech in this format because it really helps you beat like the Trick Room teams using Stalwart to avoid redirection. So this is like a great mon against like Cali Ice, which would normally be a bit of a problem for this team. So I do think that this guy has every like thing going for him. And I want to say this is an okay matchup. My girlfriend's cooking something. You can hear the fire alarm going off. So hopefully that's not too loud. But I do think that this is a pretty good matchup for me. Zacian Kyogre is... I probably ought to go stop it. Yeah, it's fine. All right. Anyways, I think it's a pretty good matchup for me. I think that Lando makes it a little bit hard. I don't want to just go after the Kyogre slot because they can always switch in that Landorus and use the ground typing to, oh, god damn it. I gotta step away from this for a sec. I got it. You got it? You gotta, like, blow it away. Yeah, it is. Hopefully that's enough. How's the gym? Just not working? Yeah, you got there early. I'm still streaming. All right. So unprofessional, I know, right? Seeing you Zekrom so well makes me happy. Zek doesn't get the respect it deserves, and I've always thought it was one of the coolest mons. Can't wait to build something off this concept. I actually think Zek is really cool, and on my notes that I took, I realized Zekrom had the lowest usage rate out of all of like the competitive restricted. So we're not counting like we're not counting Cosmog, not counting like base Kyurem or base Calyrex or anything like that. Zekrom actually has the lowest usage rate off the usage stats that I took, and I was like, Zekrom's the best. Like, it's amazing. But going into this matchup, I think Zekrom has a good matchup versus Kyogre and Zacian. It's the Duraludon and the Landorus that make this a lot harder to deal with. So we're going to need to get some good plays. We're going to need to play this one really, really well to win. Because they can also lead like Kyogre Ludicolo and use the Swift Swim from the Ludicolo to make their Fake Out faster than my Comfey's Draining Kiss. And that could be a little bit not great. So I think they have all the tools to win this on paper. But we're going to try our best. We're going to try our best. And I'm thinking in the team preview, I'm thinking like, this is one of the matchups that I also really like going Bronzong. Because Bronzong can live as Scarf Ogre, and I don't know if it's going to be... I don't know if Bronzong... Sorry, I don't know if it's going to be Scarf Ogre, right? We have no idea if it's going to be Scarf Ogre. We have no idea if it's like Assault Vest Ogre, which is really popular, or like Mystic Water, like Wave Incense Ogre. There's so many different Kyogre sets that are popular right now. And I'm just thinking... I'm going to have to basically kill that Landorus before I actually can go after the Kyogre. So we'll see. We're lock and loaded, ready to go. I think Ludicolo is problematic. I think there's a high chance of seeing like Wims, Kyogre, Landorus, Zacian. Or maybe like not Wims and maybe see Duraludon instead. But, you know, hopefully we can tunnel them into bringing the stuff that we want by the Torkoal Venusaur. And we're going to be doing our best in this game. Whose emote is that with the Dialga? Skitties. Just max. I'll just forward right there. Just go forward. All right, here we go. 30 seconds forward. So we see their leads, and I think they lead Kyogre, but I'm trying to remember the other one. So Whimsicott Kyogre, and I'm like, okay, Whimsicott Kyogre is not a great matchup for me. There's so many bad things that can happen. They can go Taunt with the Comfey. They can go big Ice Beams, big Spouts. The Comfey will actually live the Water Spout. And like an attack from the Wims, we're actually EV trained on purpose to live through that if it's like a timid ogre. So I do think in this situation it's probably best to just go for the protect. And I'm kind of hoping they go like Tailwind Max Hailstorm. Obviously that'd be great. It'd break Wims potential sash. It'd activate my policy. That'd be absolutely amazing for me. But we also know that our Comfey's heavy HP specialty, so we're fine if they just want to go for like a Water Spout. What was the hardest match? The hardest match we fought yesterday probably. Is Kyurem Black better than Zekrom? I think Kyurem Black has a higher usage rate than Zekrom, and I think Kyurem Black's really good, but Zekrom is better versus things like Zacian and Kyogre. So we just go for a Protect, and we see the Spout, and we see Kyogre go before Wims, which tells us one thing, that it's a Scarf Kyogre. So Scarf Kyogre is good and bad. Look how much damage does the Comfey. And we see the Gleam, and I'm like, no! But I'm like, actually, yes, because we're actually EV trained to live it. We're EV, look at this. You need more hatred, Whimsicott! You're weak! The power of EV training. We got nothing. And we got to trick him up. Now, we got to trick him up there. And again, Comfey's EV trained to live that. So, Scarf Kyogre and Wims. Probably going to be a Sash Wims. I'm thinking we might see an Encore into the Comfey. We might see the Kyogre switch out into Landorus. If I was them, I would say this Kyogre switching out for Landorus to block the Max Lightning. And then they'll like max the Landorus and try and bully my Zek. That's what I would say. You could also think about maybe the Wims Encore and Zekrom. You may say, that's why you're respecting Encore so much. It's because I would use Encore if I was using a Scarf Kyogre too, because the way to beat Scarf Kyogre is to Protect or Trick Room, and Encore stops both of that. Wouldn't Draining Kiss go before Encore? It does go before Encore, which is why you're going to see what we do. You're going to see what we do. Draining Kiss does go before Encore. So we're playing around the Encore by using Draining Kiss. And we're going to go for the Wormwind. And you may be thinking it's weird to Wormwind. We are going to be Wormwinding this Kyogre at the +2. Because like we know it's not vested. We know it's Scarfed. And I'm thinking, I don't want a Lightning, and I would love to catch a Landorus on the switch in here. I'd love to catch a Landorus on the switch in here. That'd be the best thing the world's ever seen. Do you guys think it happens? Do you think they switch in Landorus? Do you think they switch in Landorus? Obviously, they don't. You would have seen it already. But wouldn't that have been cool? I'm really just happy they didn't switch in Zacian. But you can see here, we're going to max the Zek. We go for the Draining Kiss. So this plays around. The cool thing about this team is we get to do what we want without the opponent really having anything to do about it. So even if you had Encore, which would normally in any other format than this one, be able to stop us, we can Dynamax to avoid Encore, and we can Draining Kiss with a +3 priority Triage boosted Comfey to proc our policy, get ourselves enough health to not die to another Dazzling Gleam, and play around the Encore. So it's really, really good. Has there been a date announced for home on BSP? I have not seen anything like that. So we go for the Wormwind here, and they didn't switch out. And they live at literally 1%. What is that? 1 HP live? And you may be thinking like, that's fine. You know, you can just KO with Draining Kiss. And I'm thinking to myself, is that fine? Like, is that fine? You know, he goes for the water spout, weakest water spout in the game. Now the question is, chat, let's take some votes. What do you do here? Like, what do you do? What do you do in this situation? Is that a low roll? Yeah. They're stuck with the 1 HP Scarf Spout. That is correct. What do you do here? There's a couple things you can do. There's like 10 things you can do. And this is the most important turn of the game. If you're a professional Pokemon player, that's +1. What do? You say go after whims. With what? I have Earth Power, a Dragon Attack, and Electric Attack. We can't KO whims with that. You say Draining Kiss. You say Quake the Ogre and Draining Kiss the Whim. Okay. What if I raised you one better and did it like this? What if I raised you one better? Now remember, we have like 2 turns left Trick Room. We're running out of Trick Room turns. It's not special physical Zekrom, it's special. Why even have the Comfey on the board? Comfey doesn't need to do shit. So we switch out the Comfey for Calyrex to make it so we can abuse more Trick Room turns, to make it so you can't do anything, right? And we Earth Power the Kyber slot. And wouldn't it just be really cool if our opponent just switched in a Zacian there to block the Draining Kiss? Like, I think that'd be pretty cool if they switched in a Zacian to block the Draining Kiss. Whimsicot's going to protect, which is absolutely fine. We weren't even hitting that slot. And we go for the Max Lightning into the Whims. That's what I did. You're going to see what happens here, though. What happens? Wait for it. You already know where this game's going to go. You already know what's going to happen. We don't need to respect the Kyogre. I'm a turn ahead of myself. Yeah, we ignore the Ogre for that turn. Because, like, what do we care? It's best to break the Sash on the Whims. It's best to break the Sash on the Whims and set up a situation like this. See, I'm even better in my replay than I am when I'm talking about it reading chat. If that's not an example of how distracting chat is, then this is. So we went for the Max Lightning there to condition, right? And we also wanted that up just so we can hit the Zacian later. But look at this. Watch. Last Max turn. I think this is the last turn Trick Room, or there's one more. Oh, yeah. And this is their double protect with the Whim, so they're going to go for a second. Now, we don't ignore the Kyogre. That Kyogre's going to die. So Whims gets the double. I kind of wish we just killed it, to be honest. I kind of wish it just went away. Look at this. Nice Zacian, just switching in. They think they're so safe. Switching on Glacial Lance? Have fun. Have fun. Switching in your Zacian on a Max Quake. We do be taking those. Yeah, because the Lance would have secured the Whimsicott. And they would have to send out like a 1 HP Ogre. That's why you Quake the Ogre slot. Yeah, when we finally do hit the Ogre, that's why we Quake it. We went for the 1 turn Lightning on a different slot. Yeah. You were a turn early? Yeah, you were a turn early. I think I was a turn early in my replay, but I realized like we could just ignore the Ogre and get a Calyrex in for free. And getting in Calyrex is what secures the fact they can't switch in on as many things, and it conditions very specific Pokemon to switch in as well. So there's the Dura. I'm out of max turns. We have not won yet. I'm out of max turns, and they have not maxed at all. But the Zacian's gone. The Zacian's gone. So no Wando, which means we're free to do whatever we want. So in this situation, I'm like, fuck. Actually, is this the last turn of Trick Room? I think this might be, or something like that. I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. Like, we gonna be good here. We gonna be eating good tonight. So I'm trying to remember what I even do. I think we just click the Lance, yeah. Click the Lance and click the... No, do we Trick Room? I don't even remember what we do. I played this game like 2 hours ago and I don't remember. But you know they're maxing the Dura, right? Obviously. I think I'm putting myself in like a win-win situation. One of your mons goes off. I think this is the last Trick Room turn, but I don't remember for sure. No, last Trick Room was. So we have to reset Trick Room. We have to reset the Trick Room. And I'm realizing it's like we have to reset Trick Room. And I'm still trying to play around Encore, but we'll see how this goes. Right? And we go protect Zekrom. Definitely going to be not that great. And there's a Max Guard Dura. And I like the Max Guard Dura because it allows you to go for what he does here. The Encore. He's just going to lock us in here so we can't reset TR, which is a good play. Duraludon's a good mon. And you don't want to go G-Max. It's actually better to not be G-Max. So we finally get the KO on the Whims. Remember, they got a double protect last turn, which is kind of unfortunate. We would have been able to just safely TR here. So Whims finally goes down. Chilling Nay all the way. And the rain's over just in time for Kyogre to come back out. That's the last turn of Trick Room. Okay. All right. Cool. We're good. Remember that player switch in Yveltal, my stream? Sorry, Steam Engine Cole got one shot and disconnected. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get any DCs in this tournament. Yeah, I'm surprised. So the 1 HP Kyogre, so he's going to be fine using Water or Origin Pulse here. And basically in this turn, we just need to make him pick who they want to deal with. Because I'll kill your Kyogre, and then I can probably 1v1 your Dura with like a mixture of like Comfey, Zek, Bronzong. I just have to wait your max turns. Right, so we're going to go for, I think, I'm trying to remember what I actually do, because I do not remember what we really do here. I think I forced them into respecting Calyrex. And I think I just popped their Dura in the mouth with my Zek. Like, if you hit the Zek, you don't get to deal with the Calyrex. Because we also have Wider, more at +1 right now. So, like, we do big damage with Calyrex. Yeah, Bronzong does body him. Goes for the Origin Pulse. We get the double dodge. Not that it mattered at all. Steel Spike happens. Into Cali. You've chosen weakness. I mean, I guess the Origin Pulse missed there. It did matter. But, like, look at this damage. Look at it. Look at it. Look at the damage. Steel Spike, never heard of it. What's that? Your Life Orb Dura, not vested. If you're not vested, you're donezoed. Oh my goodness. Yeah, even if you got the KO on the Cali, it would have been fine. They thought we were going to, like, switch out the Zek or do something different, I think. Or maybe they thought that, like, giving themselves, like, maybe they still thought we were physical or something. And they'd be able to get, like, a defense boost and be fine. But, like, we do be taking those. And we go to undefeated 10-0 record. 10-0 record. Caught that Zacian on the switch. Conditioned them into switching in when it happened, too. So, we take those wins. Undefeated 10-0 record. Pretty good, in my opinion. I think pretty good. 10-0. Not bad. You know, there's up to, you can play up to 45 games, but it's like, at this point, I don't think I even need to play any games, you know? I'm just fine with this. Like, this is fine with me. I made a team that didn't lose. It won every game that it played. And if I wanted to play more, I could, you know, but like, I'm fine just ending it right here. You don't get anything for like getting into the 17 or 1800s with this team. So like, yeah, 10-0 is 5 like 2-0s. That's like 5 sets. Yeah, it's ridiculous, you know? It's like basically just, you know, going to like a national championship that they used to be best of 1 back in the day and just going undefeated the whole time. You know, that's hard to do. It's hard to do. It's hard to like be on point for that many games in a row, I think. And I will say that like my mental capacity can only take so much. Because at this point, you know, you start getting in situations where like every single loss would be like crushing. Because like how many people are really 10-0? You know, you're one of a handful. You may say like that's it, you're only 591. You got to realize I'm still competing with people that have 5 more games played than me. They could win 2 and lose 2 and win a 3rd one and go into like the top 100. You never even know. But yeah, like there's only like a handful of people out there, probably less than 20, that are 10-0. Most people, even the people that go 14-1, lost a game before they were 10-0. There's probably only a handful of people that have gone 10-0 in this event, and I'm one of them. But yeah, we're gonna call it there. We're going to call it there. I had a good time playing in this tournament. I worked really hard on this team. Spent multiple hours, filled like a whole notebook's worth of notes, tested a bunch of different teams. All that stuff, including the rental code for this team, is on Patreon. You can go check it out.